Hey everybody, Haydog here. Welcome back to another reaction video. This time we're doing 3D Guide to Britain's most famous warship. 2 out of 2. And we're just gonna get right into it.
HMS Victory.
HMS
One of
Victory.
Britain's most powerful warships in an age when Britain dominated the seas. During the Napoleonic Wars, such ships were Britain's wooden walls, protecting the homeland from invasion, while devastating enemy commerce and protecting Allied shipping. Ships of the line were the largest and most sophisticated war machines of the conflict.
I tried.
Britain had around 140 in total, more than any other nation. But her advantage came less from numbers or better ship design than the qualities of the men who sailed them.
The people.
Bold and experienced commanders, disciplined and eager crews, all full of confidence and accustomed to victory.
Part 2. Alright, let's get right into this. The crew. It's the crew, y'all.
At the height of the Napoleonic Wars, around 145,000 men served in Britain's Royal Navy.
Jeez.
A number comparable to European field armies of the period.
A lot of people.
Like HMS Victory required huge crews, not so much to sail her as to man her heavy guns.
The guns.
At the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805, she had 820 men aboard, a little short of her full complement of 850.
Wow.
Just 15 of these men were commissioned officers. One admiral commanding the fleet, one captain in command of the ship, 9 naval lieutenants, and 4 Royal Marine officers. Then the senior warrant officers, including the ship's master in charge of navigation, the gunner, responsible for the ship's guns, small arms, powder, and shot, the bosun, responsible for sails and rigging, and who with his mates oversaw all work on deck. 2 ship's carpenters, responsible for keeping the ship afloat and making repairs. The purser, in charge of ship's provisions, a surgeon for the crew's physical welfare, and a chaplain for their spiritual. Victory also had 21 midshipmen. These were young cadet officers, some of whom began their naval careers at just 13. God damn! They served a 6-year
Bro, when I was 13, what was I doing when I was 13? When I was 13, I was playing video games. I was playing video games, I was going to school. I wasn't on a naval battleship, ready to die for my country.
But sea, learning seamanship, sail handling, navigation, mathematics, and trigonometry.
Are you serious?
They then qualified to sit the lieutenant's exam, a rigorous assessment by a board of naval captains.
They were
Further
smart.
promotion to commander, then captain, would depend on merit and, crucially, social and political connections. The process could be hugely frustrating for those without influential friends.
This is a weird picture.
As satirized in this cartoon by
weird,
the famous illustrator George Cruikshank.
Weird.
Some naval officers came from aristocratic families, but most were from what today we'd call the middle classes.
Yeah.
HMS Victory carried 43 clerks, orderlies, stewards, and servants to assist the officers. 69 junior warrant officers, petty officers, and their mates held various specialist roles, such as coxswain, armourer, and sailmaker.
Hey, there's me, I'm the cook.
There were 212 able seamen, the veteran sailors. 193 ordinary seamen, with at least a year's service. 87 landsmen, mostly new recruits, only good for hauling on ropes. 142 Royal Marine non-commissioned officers and privates, soldiers who fought at sea, led amphibious landings, and enforced discipline. And 31 ship's boys, many of them orphans plucked from destitution, now destined for a life at sea.
They're just on that sea life.
Each man was assigned a station for every maneuver. Top men were the fittest, bravest sailors who handled the sails high above deck. Forecastle men were knowledgeable veterans who handled anchors and bowsprit sails.
Okay.
The waisters in the ship's waist and afterguard on the quarterdeck and poop were for hauling on ropes.
Waist. There's just a big waste
The
of time.
crew was organized into two halves, the larboard watch and starboard watch. They took turns on and off duty, except for emergencies when all hands were called on deck.
All hands on
They were
deck.
further organized into divisions, each commanded by a lieutenant responsible for his men's welfare and conduct.
Yet so simple, you know?
HMS Victory's crew, like that
sense.
of most British warships, was surprisingly cosmopolitan. Most were from Britain and Ireland,
Yep.
but about 10% were foreigners, including Americans,
Americans?
Italians, Dutch, Maltese, and West Indians.
Indian? Wow. French, Swedish.
About half
wow.
were volunteers. The rest had been impressed, meaning they'd been forced into military service by the Navy's notorious press gangs. These naval recruitment parties scoured ports and passing ships for British sailors, all of whom were considered fair game for compulsory enlistment. The process was not always entirely peaceful. Navy press gangs were feared and despised by civilians. They were known to seize men who were not sailors or even British, though most were later released if they could prove their identity. And there were limits. Contrary to popular myth, the Navy did not press vagrants, nor did it accept criminals convicted of serious crimes.
Okay. They just wanted hands on board, that's it.
To get the best out of a ship like Victory, the captain had to know his crew and his ship.
But of course.
Every vessel has its own best point of sailing relative to the wind. HMS Victory's was 1 or 2 points off her stern. This means she made her best speed, around 10 knots, sailing in these directions.
I see.
But large ships do not sail in a straight line due to leeway, the effect of the wind pushing the ship's hull sideways. This was something the helmsman steering the ship at the ship's wheel had to correct for.
Interesting.
The officer of the watch, usually a lieutenant, was responsible for the ship when on duty, and ordered which sails to set and take in.
Okay.
He would summon the captain if the situation required it.
Right.
In strong winds, Victory might sail under topsails alone, perhaps with a jib and flying jib.
Jib.
In lighter winds, she would crowd on sail, adding courses, to'garnsails, and royals.
The big boys. Or girls.
She might even run out the stunsail booms to set studding sails, pronounced stunsails.
Stunsails.
This was known as sailing large.
Large
If the wind
and
picked up,
proud.
stunsails and royals had to
Large
be
and in
brought in
charge.
quickly,
That's what I was trying to say.
as spars and sails could be damaged or torn away by a sudden strong gust.
Yeah.
No sailing ship can sail directly into the wind.
Right.
Victory's closest point of sail was 6 points off the wind. This was known as sailing close hauled or on a bowline. There were two methods of sailing against the wind. The first was tacking. This zigzag approach required precise sail handling and could strain spars and rigging. The alternative was wearing ship, an easier maneuver to perform, but slower, as it meant going the long way around.
God, that is just tedious.
Anchoring a large warship like Victory was also a complex operation. The sea's depth was discovered by casting the lead, literally throwing a lead weight tied to a rope into the sea.
Oh.
The rope clearly marked every fathom, or 6 feet. The preferred depth for anchoring was 40 fathoms or less.
Oh
though
wow,
it
that's
was possible
pretty
in deeper
deep.
water. First, the ship reduced speed by taking in sail. When the ship came to a halt, the anchor was let go, with a marker buoy attached. As current and backed sails began to drive the ship sternwards, the anchor cable was run out, using 3 times the length needed to reach the sea bottom.
Huh.
It was the weight of this giant cable, as much as the anchor, that kept the ship in position.
Those are thick ropes.
Depending on weather, tide, and sea bottom, it might be necessary to set several of Victory's anchors to keep the ship safely moored. A less well-known inshore maneuver was kedging. This was a way to drag the ship against wind or tide using manpower alone. The lighter kedge anchor was carried in a ship's boat, rowed out ahead of the ship, and let go.
Oh.
The crew then turned the capstan to haul the ship towards the anchor.
Oh, yeah,
This exhausting process was repeated as many times as necessary to move the ship into position.
Okay.
Another version of this was warping, in which ropes were attached to a fixed object, like a strong tree on shore, and the ship hauled towards it.
I mean, yeah, that's how pulley systems work, yeah. The hotter the war, the sooner the peace. Fighting the ship.
In naval combat, the first consideration was always the direction and strength of the wind. A ship upwind or to windward had the advantage and was said to have the weather gauge. She could choose if and when to initiate battle. While the ship to leeward had to struggle into the wind to reach her adversary. Ships of all nations sometimes flew a false flag, that of another nation, to hide their identity. This was considered fair practice, but to fire on an enemy without first hoisting your true colors was an unpardonable crime.
Right, that's right.
When about to engage the enemy, the captain would order, "Beat to quarters."
Beat to quarters, oh.
To the rattle of the Marines' drums, the ship was cleared for action. All temporary cabins on gun decks were dismantled and taken to the hold, so gun crews could work without obstruction.
That has to be a hassle to do.
The sick bay was cleared away, and all its patients carried down to the orlop deck. The galley stove was put out to reduce the risk of fire. And ammunition was moved up from the magazines to the gun decks.
To the guns.
The ship's boats were launched and towed behind the ship.
Okay, now I understand why there needs to be a bunch of guys.
To splinters by enemy fire, and were immediately ready for any emergency.
Oh, that's how they do it. Okay. Because I was like, if it's in the middle, it's gonna get destroyed.
While splinter netting was put up above the decks to protect men from any falling spars or pulleys shot down by enemy fire.
Oh, that's so smart.
Every man then took up his station for battle. Captain and officers in full uniform on the quarterdeck. Top men aloft, ready to trim sail. Sharpshooters on the fighting tops. Carpenter's crew on the orlop deck, ready to plug holes below the waterline. I would want to be a sharpshooter. Gunner's mates in the magazine,
that actually kind of be pretty badass.
The surgeon in the cockpit, ready to receive casualties. For 3/4 of the crew, battle stations meant the gun decks, manning one of the ship's 104 guns. It was a huge amount of firepower for the age, and made her one of the most heavily armed warships in the world.
Yeesh.
Her heaviest cannon were the 32-pounders of the lower gun deck. At point-blank range, these guns could punch through 2 feet of solid oak.
Are you
Heavy
serious?
breaching ropes held each gun in place.
2
Otherwise,
feet.
recoil would have sent 4 tons of gun and carriage flying across the deck after every shot.
Oh my god.
Each gun had a crew of between 10 and 14, which was divided in half if the ship needed to fire on both sides. Each crew was led by a gun captain. He was responsible for aiming the gun, his crew shifting its massive weight with handspikes, crowbars, and wedges. When he was on target, the gun captain either applied a slow match to the touch hole, or as seen here, pulled a lanyard attached to a gun lock to fire the gun.
Fire it, yeah. Oh, God.
To reload, one man first blocked the vent with his thumb or a stopper to prevent sparks getting into the barrel during loading.
That makes
the
sense.
barrel was then sponged to extinguish embers, and wormed to remove debris.
Debris, yeah.
A gunpowder
I know a little
cartridge
bit about
was
this.
inserted at the muzzle
The
and rammed home with a ramrod.
Ram it, yep.
Followed by the shot.
Shot. Ram it, yep.
And then a wad to keep everything in place.
Oh, okay.
The gun was run out into firing position, and a pricker inserted into the vent to prick the cartridge and spill the gunpowder.
Spill it, yeah.
The gun captain then added powder from his powder horn to the vent and priming pan. The gun was now primed, ready to fire again.
So it's kind of like a musket, I would say, but a little more complicated. And probably took, I mean, he's probably going to say it probably took a couple more, maybe like a couple more minutes than muskets.
This process took an experienced British gun crew around 90 seconds.
Never mind.
They were generally faster and more accurate than their adversaries.
Minute
As
30.
a battle wore on, the firing rate would fall dramatically due to exhaustion and casualties. Conditions on a gun deck during battle must have been horrendous.
Oh, yeah.
Noise, smoke, sweat, and gruesome wounds.
That's what I was saying. I was like,
flying
there's so much noise
and accidents.
And smoke and accident. Oh my God, yeah.
Battles usually began with a broadside, a ship firing all guns on one side in quick succession. For greater impact, the first broadside could be double-shotted, every gun loaded with 2 rounds.
Ugh.
To guarantee penetration of an enemy ship's hull, the range should be less than 500 yards.
Yeah, they gotta be close.
Many captains preferred extreme close range to
Oh,
fight
God.
yardarm to yardarm.
Yardarm to yardarm. Bah, 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 bah. Oh my God.
The deadliest maneuver was to rake the enemy, to fire a broadside into their stem or stern.
Oh yeah, because they can't do anything.
Round shot would smash its way the length of the ship, dealing death and mayhem as it went. French ships tended to fire high, on the uproll, aiming for masts and rigging to immobilize the enemy.
Makes
British
sense.
ships aimed low, for the hull, trying to knock out guns and crew.
I mean, like,
long range.
how, okay, I'm just gonna say this. What if it just, like, punctures a hole and then just a bunch of water fills in? I know they got the thing that, like, pumps it out, but, like, I don't know, because, like, every time I see these videos, like, they never really show ships actually, like, just sinking to the bottom of the ocean. They're usually, like, they explode, or, I mean, like, I don't know, it's just, it feels super easy to just puncture a couple holes in, like, the like, bottom of the ship, and then just sink. I would think so. I don't know, maybe, it does have copper, so I guess copper is a little better than wood, but I don't know, so, yeah.
A mile or more, round shot could be skipped across the sea, like skimming pebbles across a pond.
Are you serious? What?
Round shot, a solid iron ball.
That is the deadliest, skipping a rock I've ever seen. That's the deadliest way to skip a rock.
Was the most commonly used type of ammunition. Specialist ammunition, such as bar shot, also known as double-headed shot or chain shot, was used to target masts and rigging.
Yeah.
At close range, grape shot and canister, both packed with multiple smaller projectiles, turned a gun or carronade into a giant shotgun and were used to
God.
wreak havoc on an enemy deck.
Oh my god, I hate that so
A
much.
captain might decide to finish the fight by boarding an enemy warship.
Yeah, boarding.
Designated boarders armed themselves with muskets, pistols, cutlasses, and half-pikes. The enemy ship was bound tight by grappling hooks, and after a shower of grenados and stink pots, an early form of tear gas, the boarders would swarm across to the enemy deck. In such actions, morale, aggression, and momentum counted more than tactics.
Tell me, yeah.
Though brutal, such battles were usually over quickly.
All bands ahoy. Or all hands ahoy. Life at sea.
Combat at sea was relatively rare. Great fleet actions, such as Trafalgar and the Nile, were rarer still. Just a handful of days, spread across 20 years of war.
I mean, yeah.
Weeks and months often lay between any encounter with the enemy. Then life at sea was dominated by naval routine, and the passage of time marked by the ship's bell. The naval day began at noon, determined by
so
the officers'
boring.
observation of the sun with their sextants.
Sextant.
The moment the sun reached its highest point was noon.
Yeah.
The ship's hourglass was turned, and the bell rung 8 times to mark the beginning of the afternoon watch. Half an hour later, as determined by a half-hour sandglass, the bell was rung once. A half hour later, it was rung twice, and so on. So 5 bells in the afternoon watch was 2:30 p.m. 8 bells meant the start of a new watch, sending half the crew below deck to rest or do other tasks, and bringing the other half on duty. There were 7 watches in all, though the first and second dog watches were only 2 hours long. This meant the 2 halves of the crew switched their routine each day, and one half wasn't always stuck with the same night watches.
Yeah.
Senior officers slept in a hanging cot. For everyone else, bed was a hammock strung up from the ship's beams. Most of the men slept on the middle or lower gun decks, their hammocks suspended between the guns, just 16 inches apart.
Oof.
But as most ships operated a 2-watch system, half the crew on duty while the other half slept, about half
Maybe
the
I want to be on a
hammocks were
smaller
empty at any
ship.
given time. In normal conditions, only part of the watch was required to sail the ship. The rest carried out various tasks, not least cleaning the ship, scrubbing decks, polishing brass, and painting woodwork. This was a matter of maintenance and hygiene, as well as collective pride in their ship's appearance. The
gotta be
crew were
so
fed
much
3
work.
times daily, though only dinner at noon was a hot meal. They organized themselves into messes of about 8 men, each taking his turn to fetch cooked food from the galley, which was eaten at a table suspended between the guns.
Need that rum,
Naval
too.
food wasn't fancy, but it was sufficient, even for men engaged in long hours of hard labor.
That's not too bad.
Apart from the ship's substantial stores of salted beef, pork, and ship's biscuit, the ship took on fresh meat, including livestock, fresh vegetables, and water, at every possible opportunity.
Makes sense.
Most of the crew probably ate better at sea than they would have in civilian life.
Really? Interesting.
As well as the daily routine dictated by the ship's bell, there were weekly rituals. Clothes and hammocks washed and hung out to dry once a week, weather permitting.
Oh man, once a week?
Gunnery
Good Lord.
practice by divisions.
Smelly.
And on Sundays, a church service led by the ship's chaplain, if there was one, or the captain.
Oh.
This was followed at least once a month by a public reading of the Articles of War, the regulations that governed conduct and discipline at sea. The articles listed 36 offences, from drunkenness to theft, mutiny, cowardice, and striking an officer.
Duh.
Half of these were punishable by death, In several cases, it was the only sentence allowed.
You will now die.
British discipline at sea was notoriously severe.
You are too smelly.
Crimes for which a sailor was not hanged would usually lead to a flogging with the cat-o'-nine-tails.
Ugh.
Drunkenness was the most common offence, not unconnected to the Navy's daily allowance
Duh.
of a gallon of beer per man in home waters, or half a pint of rum or other spirits overseas.
It's a lot of
This
beer.
mixed 4 parts water to 1 part spirits, with lemon or lime juice added to prevent scurvy, was the famous Navy grog.
Grog. Okay.
Any man caught drunk or asleep on duty might get 12 lashes, delivered by a bosun's mate in front of the assembled crew. Serious crimes
How
such as
embarrassing.
desertion might result in 200 lashes or
Oh
more.
my
A
god.
punishment so severe, it sometimes killed the prisoner.
Oh wow.
Some naval captains were ferocious tyrants, but most knew that harsh punishment was best used sparingly.
Right.
British sailors did not expect an easy life, but did expect to be treated fairly and with dignity.
Okay.
If not, there could be trouble.
Well, yeah.
In 1797, the Royal Navy experienced a large-scale mutiny at Spithead, affecting 16 ships of the line. It was effectively a strike for better pay, as sailors hadn't had a pay rise in more than a century.
Oh Jesus.
The mutiny was settled without violence, and the sailors largely got what they wanted.
Okay, that's nice.
A second mutiny at the Nore made more radical demands, with some crews threatening to defect to France.
Oh.
This time, the authorities were determined to set an example and
Yeah.
hanged 29 ringleaders.
Oh wow.
Despite hard
Jeez.
discipline and service, the British Navy produced crews that were experienced and able,
Yeah,
bound together by long service
they're
at sea.
strong.
Men that bold commanders knew they could rely on.
Yep.
The British Navy, well-manned,
The British.
well-resourced, and backed by a powerful economy, was able to secure complete naval dominance during the Napoleonic Wars.
Yep. The French, not so much.
It would prove a crucial factor in Napoleon's defeat.
Yep.
HMS
He was just
Victory,
like, I don't like
having played
boats.
her part, was placed in the Naval Reserve at the end of the war. Narrowly escaping the Breakers' Yard, she became the flagship of the Port Admiral of Portsmouth on England's south coast, and
there you
later
go.
flagship of the Royal Navy's Commander-in-Chief. After a major refit, Victory began a new life as a museum ship, opening to the public in 1928.
Oh, wow.
Today,
pretty early.
she is undergoing another major conservation project to deal with the many challenges faced by a 250-year-old wooden sailing ship.
Yeah, man.
It will ensure her survival far into the future as a unique memorial to this dramatic age of naval warfare.
Damn.
Thank you to
That's
Royal
crazy.
Museums Greenwich for help in collating.
I kind of want to see it now. I kind of want to go and see the ship. Yeah, that was really cool, actually. I'm not, if you couldn't tell, I don't know anything about boats, and honestly, I'm not a huge boat person, which, if you are 100% valid. That is awesome. Keep doing it. You know, if you love boats and ships and stuff, keep learning about them, keep teaching people about them. It's awesome. Keep doing it. Myself, I'm not really a boat guy. I like military, I like more of the army. I'm not usually a Navy guy. But I know some things somewhat. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and dealing with my baloney. And I'm not super noative about this, so any comments would greatly help me with my knowledge. But anyway, I'm rambling on. So, hopefully you guys liked it, comment, and subscribe. See ya!